Welcome to the first installment of the Video Game Book Club. Yes! I'm so excited to be doing this series with you guys. Every Monday we're going to meet here and talk about the book that we're reading. And this week, the book that we're reading is Uncharted, the Fourth Labyrinth, the first 3 chapters. So we're going to talk about it and let's get to it. So we start off this book in media res with Nate running through the jungle being chased by some pissed off South American drug lords. Ramon Valdez is a drug lord who Drake is after to retrieve this item he comes across, a kidnapped young girl, and he takes her with. He cannot leave her there, so he's going to bring her with. She is sassy and not having any of his nonsense. She is the daughter of a politician who is fighting this drug cartel, and he cannot be bought. And her name is Alex Munoz. So what Drake's ties to this treasure and this beginning story is 3 years ago, Valdez hired Nate, was to find treasures there, but he was really after the golden staff of Ayarmanco. Was this another lost colony, or was this just another myth? But after Valdez hires Nate to steal the staff, Nate gives him the staff, and he figured it would be a lot cheaper to just kill him than to pay him. So Drake barely escapes with his life, as usual, but he's hired by the Calcoa, who believe they are the rightful descendants of Manco, and they want to get it back. So, back to the drug cartel car chase. Drake and Alex are desperately trying to escape with Valdez's goons hot on their heels. They are driving recklessly through the jungle, they are dodging bullets, and Drake is trying to give them the slip. When they reach a point in the jungle where they cannot outrun these dudes anymore, they get out with their hands up to surrender. When the head dude in charge comes over, Drake gives a signal, and they are ambushed by the Calcoa, saving Nate's ass. So it is a rescue after all. He wound up rescuing the girl, and Drake gets the money for returning the artifact and for rescuing the daughter, and he is feeling pretty damn invincible as he travels back home. After landing in the airport in Chicago, Drake gets a frantic phone call from Sully. Sully needs him to fly to New York ASAP. There has been a murder. There's been a murder. Nate meets with Sully, and he's being extremely cryptic and paranoid. What has got Sully so shook? Sully leads Nate down to the train station where the police have sectioned off an area with a dead body, and they are investigating. A trunk was left by 2 men in black coats, but what does this have to do with Nate and Sully? The trunk wasn't filled with explosives, like the police had thought, but it was filled with a dead body, a dismembered dead body. Sully's longtime friend and associate Luca, well, parts of Luca. There was only his head and his torso in the suitcase. His arms and legs have been removed. This was a message that had come through loud and clear. They wanted him to be identified easily, so this was a message. Luca was an archaeologist and a professor and a fellow collector of antiquities. He was a rebel in the intellectual community and would challenge the status quo. He was highly controversial. The cops didn't have any leads, but as usual, Sully did. Jada. Jada is Luca's daughter and Sully's goddaughter. Now, Jada's stepmother works for Phoenix Innovations, and the CEO is Tyr Henriksen. They are a weapons manufacturer, and they like to keep their business on the down low. Henriksen is also an antiques collector who has no qualms with hiring undesirables to get the job done. Henriksen hired Luca to embark on a private project. Something about the project scared Luca and he quit, but he kept working on it secretly by himself. He didn't seem excited about this venture, but he was afraid. So now that Jada's father is dead, she wants to help find out what happened to her father, and she needs Sully's help, and Drake is in as well. So our boys find where Jada is staying, and she's trying to research and pick up where her father left off. They talk about the ancient alchemists who tried to convince people that they could turn random metals into gold. The other thing they talk about is labyrinths, but they don't know how it's connected. A man named Cheney wrote a book about labyrinths that they find that Luca was looking into. He is working at the Museum of Natural History, and they decide to pay him a visit. They're gonna roll out and find out what he knows. They don't want Jada coming, it's dangerous, but she is not having any of it. She's going. So now Drake starts to wonder if Olivia, Luca's wife, could she have sold out her husband? There is a huge conflict of interest here. Her husband was kind of screwing over her employer. Whose side was she on? And did she give her husband up? And if Henriksen wanted him dead, this was such a gruesome way for his body to be discovered. Whoever murdered him wanted to make a bold statement. They were sending a message. But the billionaire had so much to lose. Why would he risk it all? Just a side note, as I was reading this, Drake seems extra thirsty in this book. He likes Jada. He likes the female grad student working for Cheney. When they go to meet, he seems extra thirsty. It's like, keep it in your pants, Drake. Oh my damn. Okay, so now they're at the museum. They're walking through the labyrinth that Cheney has constructed. And as they're going through the labyrinth, they hear a blood-curdling scream. Everybody panics, and they're trying to get to Cheney. There is a big crash and a bang, and they run towards the sound. Drake nearly stumbles over the man who is lying on the ground. He has been stabbed and he is slowly bleeding out. Drake doesn't think Cheney gonna make it. He doesn't look like he's gonna make it. Okay, and that's where we end off at chapter 3. I really like the pacing of this book. They keep the story moving and it's exciting. I never felt like the story was dragging. There was plenty of banter between Drake and Sully and the other characters, of course. There's plenty of internal monologue with Drake, and it really rings true to Drake's character, which I really like. And I hope the rest of the book follows suit, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So next week, we will find out what happens to Cheney. We will find out if the assailant is still in the museum, and will our crew find him? And do they know Jada is there as well? Do they have others working for them? I have so many questions! Okay, so thanks so much for participating and reading along. I hope you guys are enjoying this story and this series, because I really am. I'm enjoying this book so much. So don't forget to support me on TAD at O.C.Deidre. Give a TAD, O-C-D-E-I-D-R-E, 500 TADs a day. It's free, it's easy, and it would really help support the channel so much so I can keep bringing you these fun series. The links are everywhere. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll be back with more next week, chapters 4, 5, and 6. Thanks so much for reading along, and I'll be back with more.